We never indicted Hillary. We never indicted our enemies.
Yeah, because they blocked it. But
Who blocked it?
The Justice Department. Well, there were actually some people there at the beginning who were a little more fair-minded. I mean, it's not going to be that way in the second term, although that's the job you were up for.
I was, and honestly, I was.
If you had been there in 2016, would you have indicted Hillary?
Only if that's what the facts and the law commanded. I wouldn't have done it as some get back politically, because look, that doesn't end.
Matt Gaetz went on Bill Maher's podcast, the Club Random podcast, and man, things did get heated where Matt Gaetz did absolutely destroy Bill Maher on his own show, the Club Random podcast. Let's get into this clip here where Bill Maher gets absolutely united by Matt Gaetz, who has been under a lot of fire this year from the woke side. And as you can see here, it's getting a little bit tense here between Matt Gaetz and Bill Maher. Let's get into this clip here and check it out.
I'm an honest broker more than anything else, okay? So, and that's why the left hates me too. The far left really hates me, and I welcome their hatred because I just will not carry the water
Why do you think
of all their insanity or yours.
Well, and by the way, no one's asking
annexing Greenland
or buying it.
Buying it is different. See, again, let's just be honest. Come on, we're just guys talking here. Those are two different things. Just look me in the eye and tell me you understand that. They're two different things. Buying something that they agree to sell to us or just taking from another country. That's what Hitler did, and that's Putin. We're not. I know you guys like to be like flirting with authoritarianism, but well, let me ask you that question. You're a married man now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and your wife is lovely.
Thank you.
You did well. And okay, so sometimes in a marriage, the couple, I've heard both sides. I've heard couples say, yeah, I'm a big flirt, but it's okay because he knows I'll never cross the line. But so that's just okay in the marriage. That's like they've decided that's okay to flirt, or the guy does it. Then I've heard some marriages where it's like, no, that is crossing the line. Okay, I bring this up because you guys are really flirting with authoritarianism. You know what I mean? He admires...
Like, we didn't try to throw our political prisoners in jail. We talked about it, but we didn't actually try.
Oh, you did try.
We never indicted Hillary. We never indicted our enemies.
Yeah, because they blocked it. But
Who blocked it?
The Justice Department. Well, there were actually some people there at the beginning who were a little more fair-minded. I mean, it's not going to be that way in the second term, although that's the job you were up for.
I was, and honestly, I was
hoping... If you had been there in 2016, would you have indicted Hillary?
Only if that's what the facts and the law commanded. I wouldn't have done it as some get back politically, because look, that doesn't end. And
why does he laugh at that though? Like, these people, like, they're so one-track minded. Bill Maher's not even open a little bit to hear what Matt Gaetz has to say here. He asked him a question: would you indict Hillary? Only if the facts said that we should. And then he laughs. He laughs as if there's no way that Hillary Clinton could ever be guilty of anything. You know, no president or presidential candidate or wife of any president has ever done anything wrong, right? Like, why is that funny? I just don't understand why that's even funny or what that correlated to. And this goes for really anybody who has run for president or been a president. The odds of them never doing anything that's worth indicting is pretty damn slim, pretty low. And just considering all the stuff that's come out ever since the internet has really taken over, we don't rely on news stations anymore for our news. We're able to actually get, you know, cold hard facts within seconds of it happening, whether you agree with it or not. And now that we know so much about past or present candidates, we know that they're all corrupt. They're all crooks. So why is it so why is it so laughable when Matt Gaetz says, yeah, I think we should indict her? Like, what part of that is funny? Is it because you don't believe that Matt Gaetz would only indict her if the facts said that they should? Or is it funny that Hillary Clinton could possibly do anything worth indicting? Let me know in the comments, you know, why you think Bill Maher laughed right there. Let's check it out.
Is if you do that to them and they do that to us, then you don't ever get out of the cycle. And as someone who has held some power, it's a pretty frightening concept that when you get out, the people who take power then can utilize the apparatus of the state to deprive you of your freedom.
But of course, you went right to whataboutism. You didn't really answer what
I reject the premise that we flirt with authoritarianism.
Are you... Come on, man. Seriously?
Come on, man.
Using every possible lever to stay in office after he lost the election, plainly. Just always being friends with Putin, he likes him, he likes Viktor Orban, always like pining to be with Team Strongman and not really being that, into our allies. You don't think that's flirting with authoritarianism? And if you flirt with it, he also makes jokes about, maybe after this term, if it's so good, we should have another one, which would be, again, an abrogation of the basic tenets of the Constitution, 2 terms. That's flirting. Flirting. To even make a joke about it is flirting with authoritarianism. My question, like in a marriage, can you just flirt and not cross the line?
Of course.
Most don't, but okay. I'm telling you, most guys, if they flirt, what they're doing is they're seeing if the girl flirts back. If she doesn't, I was just flirting. If she does, yeah, I'll fuck her.
So you think flirtation only goes as far as your options at that moment?
Well put.
Yeah. Well,
for a man.
Well, yeah, it might be different for women. But I think that in Trump's case, he looks at 4 years of a pretty peaceful world. You have to concede that. And when I got elected, the places where I would come in some conflict with Trump would be where he would seek powers of war that I thought were reposed in the Congress. And now, and I had all these Democrats really eager to work with me. No war with Iran. We should stop Trump from having that power. But then, as soon as Biden is cheerleading this war in Ukraine, all the anti-war Democrats became pro-war. There are no anti-war Democrats left.
That's an interesting point. It's off the point we're talking about a little bit.
That's why I like Matt Gaetz so much, because that's how both sides operate. And that's how people, what people don't understand. It's like the brains are just broken on both sides, the Republicans and Democrats. And it's a huge issue because whenever I say I'm anti-war across the board, whenever you bring up the Ukraine issues, everyone's like, oh, we need to pull our money out of Ukraine. Why are we funding Ukraine? Get out of there, get out of there. You bring up the Middle East stuff with Ben Shapiro's favorite country, and people are like, oh, no, we must defend Israel. They are our greatest ally. Send the money over there. And it's like, I thought you were anti-war. You're either anti-war or you're not. There's no in between. These people that are doing that, yeah, we need to pull out of Ukraine, and then all at the same time are going to, in the same breath say we need to keep funding the war in the Middle East, Israel, all that good stuff. Those people are not principled human beings, which is why I like Matt Gaetz so much, because he actually is a principled human being. And people who are anti-war across the board, that's a principle that you have. But if you're anti-war and you say it, I'm America first, all this stuff, but then you also want to continue to fund the war in the Middle East, you're not principled. You're playing sides, really. You're playing whatever the populace sways. And that's why Matt Gaetz is saying that the Democrats are going to work with him whenever he's in office, and he was trying to push back on the warmongering. And then Joe Biden gets in office, and all of a sudden they all become warmongers themselves because they're not principled human beings. They just want to do whatever is going to get them votes, whatever is going to make them money, and whatever moment in time they're in. That's it. Matt Gaetz is like, I'm anti-war, and I'm anti-war. And not just Republicans, but people that just watch videos like this one, especially people watch the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro religiously. Those types of people, they're full anti-war, even though if you bring in Ukraine, Russia, they'll say to get out of there, but you bring out the Middle East, and they're like, oh no, we must defend Israel. It makes no sense to me. I'm happy Matt Gaetz has this point, and I'm really curious to see what Bill Maher has to say, and what you all have to say in the comments as well. Let me know.
If you're talking
you haven't lost all your skills as the congressman. Come on, man.
If you're talking about the use of force to achieve your political goals, I think it's somewhat on topic.
It's not like the left doesn't do a version. I mean, they should not have been bitching about Trump is not a legitimate president. That was wrong. I agree. It's very different than actually trying to stay in power. We just had January 6th. It went off smoothly without a hitch. Everyone places. Okay, the rehearsal went great, and now we do it and we go home. That's not what would have happened if you guys had lost, and you know that.
Bill, you understand
that is an asymmetry you have to address.
Okay, let me address it. You're right. This past week, we had a wonderful January 6th. The last time we had a Republican president elected and Democrats did not object to the electors, do you know when the last time that was?
See, this is the kind of bullshit.
Look, it was 1988. It was 1988 the last time they didn't object to Republicans. They objected to George W. Bush winning Ohio.
objective is different than calling the Justice Department and pressuring them to do things that even his own Justice Department wouldn't do. It's different than calling the guy in Georgia and saying, find me 11,000 votes. It's different than going to court with all these ridiculous cases that were laughed out of every courtroom. It's different than actually sending fake electors. Don't give me bullshit and we'll be friends. Bullshit me? No, we'll still be friends. But I'll think you're a hack, instead of someone who could actually have an honest conversation and admit this asymmetry exists.
I don't believe it's asymmetrical at all. When you look at the way the Democratic Party used an authoritarian bum rush to get Joe Biden out of the race and replace him with Harris, what was it? Was that the great sacrifice to the virtue of democracy, and the great rejection of authoritarianism was swapping her out for him like it's some Mississippi Square dance?
Okay. I'm just going to end this part of our discussion by saying, I think I just looking in your eye, talking to you, not the media guy I saw, you're a lot brighter than I thought you were.
Did you think I was not bright?
Yeah.
And that because he doesn't have a response to that, because people like Bill Maher and all the other woke media out there were saying that Donald Trump threatens democracy, threat to democracy, just repeating what the machine state tells them to repeat. And then at the same time, what the Democrats are doing while they're saying this is a direct contradiction to the democracy that they're claiming to be so desperately defending. And they did the same thing whenever Joe Biden was running, by the way. Not that they didn't have a primary or anything, but they basically just, somebody called everybody overnight. Everybody dropped out at the same time and said, we support Joe Biden, we support Joe Biden, and in this very robotic way. And the same thing happened in 2024, but to a whole another level and extent. And we're just not going to hold a primary. We're just going to make Kamala Harris the candidate. The voters have no say in it. Joe Biden, you have no say in it. Definitely. You have to drop out, or else you're getting that hammer. And Kamala Harris, you're the candidate. Everything else has to say about it, you can shove it up, where, or kick rocks. And that was just crazy to watch and unfold. And maybe it isn't that crazy because it's the Democrats and what they do. But the crazy part of it is that at the same time they're doing that, like Matt Gaetz is saying here to Bill Maher, and people like Bill Maher are saying that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy while their side is directly contradicting democracy. How do they not see it? I don't know. And I don't really care at this point. We won this election. We got 4 years of peace, hopefully. Hopefully they don't put him in a peach and throw him out of office, but I'm sure they're going to give it their best shot. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Matt Gaetz, Bill Maher situation debate. See you in the next one.